Hello, I'm Luke Darcy and welcome to Access All Areas. And after a marathon, 11 days, the opening round has finally been completed. And with me to talk about all the hot footy issues is Damien Barrett. Hello, Damo.
G'day, Darcy. And let's go right from the top here. I want you as the ex-champion to delve into how a team, a very good team like Hawthorn, can mentally disintegrate every time it plays another good team, Geelong.
Well, I think mental disintegration is probably the key part of that, Damo. And I think there's no doubt in my mind that there is a mental hurdle there when Hawthorn played Geelong. They're up by 30 points, approaching half-time, and they aren't able, in their own minds, to bury Geelong.
They're a good team, Darcy. They beat nearly every other team regularly.
7 of the 10 games they've played that they've lost have been under 10 points. So they're good enough to compete with them. I think you've got to pay credit and respect to Geelong. Geelong believe that at any stage they're good enough to beat Hawthorn. And how to explain when something gets inside your head, and it just does. They feel them coming, they second-guess themselves, they stop taking risks, they stop playing the game that makes them a good side. And Geelong are just sitting there. You looked at half-time and you thought, there's no way the Cats are going to find a way.
This is pretty deep, though, isn't it? This is really deep now.
Well, it gets to the point where if you're Hawthorn, I still think they're the best team in the competition, Hawthorn. I've got them at their best, beating anyone.
But can you say that when they keep falling against one team? The
worry for them, though, is that Geelong are the side that, if it came down to a prelim final, Hawthorn are the best side, I'd pick Geelong right now, because just because of that mental hurdle, it starts becoming something bigger than it is. 10 wins in a row. I love it. I love the fact that Geelong are able to do it. And you know one of the reasons why? They've got a little bloke by the name of Joel Selwood, their captain, who was just a freak. They were down by 30 points, started the third quarter. Have a look at him will himself to his feet there and just refuse to concede that they're going to lose a game to Hawthorn. And this is what makes it, Damo. It's individuals like that who just have got a capacity, find the moment and are able to produce something that other players aren't able to. I mean, how does a midfielder push forward and take grabs like that? Because you just will yourself to be the best player you can be.
Bailey, Gibson, showmakers.
Now, I love this. This is a moment. They're 30 points down at this stage, and it would be right to switch off. Look at Joel Selwood. He's in there alongside Lewis, fighting, elbowing, scrapping, just to make sure Hawkins, who at that stage hadn't had a kick, gets the space to turn around and kick a goal. Now, lesser players, it gets a bit hard. You zone off for a second. He never, ever does that, and that is a massive part of why Geelong were able to find a way to win.
A little thing, that one, but a very big thing in the context of that game and that history between those two clubs. Jeff Kennett reckons Alistair Clarkson's time is up, Das, that end of this year, almost regardless, maybe a premiership withholding, he's got to go.
No surprise for me with Jeff. That's the way he rolls, and he talks about governance and talks about terms of leadership, and that 6 to 8 years is about the time, and that's why I think in the end he did himself out of a job. Jeff's always going to make big statements. Like, I think this.
But is it time? Is his time up? Is Alistair Clarkson's time up?
Absolutely not in my mind. He took them to a grand final. They were a few points away from winning another one. His record as coach of Hawthorn is extraordinary.
Has he underachieved, as Jeff would argue?
Look, to win a premiership in the space of 4 or 5 years, to get to another grand final, I don't think he's underachieved at all. I think he's an outstanding coach, Alistair Clarkson. I don't buy into what Jeff Kennett says at all in terms of football. I think Jeff's got expertise in other areas, but I wouldn't necessarily be getting overexcited about him calling for Alistair Clarkson's head. Yeah,
OK. Hey, Melbourne, Das, this is getting dreadful and more dreadful by the minute.
Oh, look, you can go for massive calls and you can get carried away and big statements and all this. But the thing that concerns me most about Melbourne is I've got no idea what they stand for as a football club at all. And Mark Neal has been at the helm now for heading into his second year. And I'm totally without any clue at all about what they're trying to achieve. Ken Hinkley's coached Port Adelaide for one game, and I can tell you exactly what they're trying to do just by watching them once. They're going to be a strong defensive side. They're going to have a ruthless attack on the football. They're going to have great discipline and great structures. You can tell that after one game. Now, the Bulldogs, and you might be saying, I'm getting excited, but by one win against Brisbane, they'll get hammered at stages this year, the Bulldogs, and they should do. But I know what Brendan McCartney's trying to achieve there. He's going to recruit ruthless, hard, Jake Stringer type players, who's their number 5 pick, who will just compete and compete. If you don't compete, the Bulldogs, you're out of the side.
Well, let's take a look at Melbourne and comparison
I
who they recruited, Das. And we have a look at this. This is an article that was in the Sunday paper down here last week, 7 Up, and there's the 7 new Melbourne faces. 3 of them first gamers, 4 of them recycled players. This is scattergun, Das, but the thing is that surprises me most is that Melbourne itself doesn't realise it's scattergun. We've been saying this since trade week last year when they went and got those 4 men, when no one wanted them, and they gave up a lot to get them in some examples. Those 4 guys now are taking games away from players who could be developed. Thank God they had Jack Viney in that game on the weekend, because there was not one other thing to stand up for out of that contest.
The issue for me is a system and a plan, and I suppose even for Melbourne supporters and for us who watch footy every week is just an understanding of what that is. And you're right, I don't understand their recruiting philosophy. I'm not sure why those players are there in that side, what they're trying to do. I mean, Jack Viney was just an unbelievable story, but where is the rest of it? I don't quite understand where Melbourne are heading at the moment. It was a disastrous first game. Let's hope they can get it right in the second game. I don't like doing this, Damo, but I feel like there's one that we just have to bring up from the weekend out of the Melbourne game. And Cam Pedersen, the former North Melbourne player, everyone has a moment like that in football, Damo, even the bravest of brave players.
But how do you highlight that, Das, out of the disaster and the carnage that game was for Melbourne as being something you want to bring to the table here?
You highlight that, Damo, because that will be highlighted internally, and it's just a beacon for what is happening at Melbourne at the moment. When you've got a place that's devoid of confidence and you're playing a game like that, you have to talk about it, because internally he'll know exactly that.
It will be addressed.
Absolutely.
Yep.
You don't need to hang people. I think we've gone too hard in the past, but that was one that you just he has to live with that for the rest of his career.
A lot of
it takes a while to get respect back.
Yeah, a lot of comments made around it and about it, and Daniel Gorringe made this comment on Twitter, which he actually took down not long after he did post it. But good thing Cam Pedersen isn't wearing white shorts.
That's Daniel Gorringe, the 8-game Gold Coast son who averages 8 disposals, only 20 years of age. Daniel, I just think you might want to just keep yourself in check and get that part of your game
It's okay
right.
for you to say it.
Well, once
Daniel.
Well, once you've been around a little while, Damo, and you've probably got a few more on the board. But look, I think he's probably just an attempt at humour. I don't think he was trying to be too mischievous. I don't know the young man, but
he's made his own bed there, though, doesn't he?
And you know what? We actually like players commenting, so let's not go too hard.
North and Collingwood. North had a game it could have easily won, us, but kicking like this first example here by Jack Zeeble into the forward line, it happened all game, particularly in the third quarter. Why can one club pinpoint passes so well as Collingwood did and North so badly?
Yeah, they had a horrible day, didn't they, from a kicking point of view. Round 21 last year, it was their big 3 forwards who won the game against Collingwood, their best win for 2012. Well, their midfield group didn't help their forwards at all. Drew Petrie didn't get near the footy, but it's not easy. Robbie Tarrant there, when the footy's going way over your head and you're getting out, Mark. Look at that ball there inside 50 that goes straight down the throat of Darren Jolly. It just lacked system. It was a really disappointing day for North Melbourne with late withdrawals for Collingwood. You just thought it was a great opportunity to get their season off to a good start, and they performed pretty badly.
That was a good Sunday we just had. What about this Sunday coming up? It's a super Sunday if we've ever seen one in an AFL perspective.
Love it when the Scott boys go head-to-head, and Brad was at his combative best. We heard him fire a few shots at Nathan Buckley. Chris, how about his start to his coaching career? This is the most anticipated home and away game I can remember, Damo, in any time I've been involved in footy, and that's not trying to hype it beyond all hype, but Bucks and Mick go head-to-head. And we might be looking at the grand finalists there. In fact, they're the two that I picked to make the grand final, West Coast and Hawthorn, despite the fact they both lost games in the first round. But brilliant games coming up everywhere. Damo, great to be back with you. That's Access All Areas. We'll be back to our usual time on Monday next week. Thanks for joining us. Look forward to seeing you then.